$100 a month. That's it. That's the whole strategy. And I already know what you're thinking. That's nothing. That won't move the needle. That's barely a tank of gas. Stay with me for 60 seconds, because what I'm about to show you will permanently change how you think about every single dollar you spend for the rest of your life. Not motivational poster stuff. Actual mathematics that most people never see laid out clearly. Here's where we start. And this number needs to land properly. The Federal Reserve found that over 57% of Americans have less than $1,000 in savings right now. More than half the country. Working adults, people with jobs, salaries, direct deposits hitting every 2 weeks, and still less than $1,000 to their name. That's not a low-income problem. That's a financial education problem. These people spent decades earning money and never learned what money actually does when you stop spending it immediately. Here's what it does. And this is the part that changes everything. Imagine two versions of you. Same income, same expenses, same life. The only difference: version A takes $100 every month and puts it into a basic S&P 500 index fund. Version B spends that same $100 on whatever: lunch, subscriptions, things that feel reasonable in the moment. 10 years later, version A has contributed $12,000. But their account doesn't say 12,000. It says approximately 20,000. $8,000 appeared that version A never earned from a paycheck. That's compound growth in its early stages. 20 years later, contributions total 24,000. Account balance $76,000. They put in 24,000. The market added 52,000 on top. 30 years, 36,000 contributed. Account balance $227,000. 40 years, $48,000 of their own money ever went in. Total account balance over $600,000. 600,000 from 48,000 of their own money. The other 550,000 came from compound interest, doing what compound interest does when you leave it alone long enough. Now, here's where most people make the expensive mistake. They hear those numbers and think, great, I'll start when I have more money, when things calm down a little, when the timing is better. That specific thinking is the most costly financial decision most Americans make. Two people both invest $100 a month at 10% average annual return. Person A starts at 25. Person B waits until 35, just 10 years later. At 65, person A has approximately $600,000. Person B has approximately $227,000. Same monthly amount. The only variable was when they started. The 10-year delay cost person B $373,000, not because they were irresponsible. Because compound growth is exponential, the early years build the foundation that makes the later years explosive. Cut the foundation and you cut the explosion. Time is the actual asset. The $100 is just the key that unlocks it. Drop in the comments, what age are you watching this from? I genuinely want to know the range in this audience. Let's talk about where the $100 actually comes from. Because the real objection isn't the math. It's I'm already stretched thin. There is no extra $100. Here's what the data shows. Bureau of Labor Statistics data puts average American monthly dining out spending at approximately $230. Drive-thrus, coffee shops, lunch runs, occasional dinners out. $230 monthly on food someone else prepared. The average American household pays for 3.8 streaming subscriptions simultaneously. At current prices, that's $60 to $80 monthly on platforms carrying largely overlapping content. A 2023 Slick Deals survey found the average American spends approximately $150 per month on impulse purchases, items bought in a moment, most forgotten within 90 days. Those three categories alone total over $400 monthly in highly discretionary spending. $100 redirected out of 400 is a 30% reallocation. The lifestyle barely changes. The 40-year outcome changes by $550,000. Now, where does that $100 go? Because this matters. A high-yield savings account might give you 4 to 5% right now. At 5%, your $100 monthly over 40 years grows to approximately $150,000, better than nothing, but not the number we've been talking about. The S&P 500 has returned an average of roughly 10% annually over the past 50 years. That includes the dot-com crash, 2008, and the pandemic. 10% average across all of it. Not a guarantee, but the most historically documented long-term return available to regular people without special access or expertise. And the account most people in the 22 to 40 range are not using the Roth IRA. Contributions go in after tax. Growth is completely tax-free. Withdrawals in retirement, zero tax owed on any of it. On $600,000 of growth, that tax-free status is worth an enormous amount. Check current IRS contribution limits, but for most people under 40, it's accessible, and it's one of the most powerful tools in existence for exactly this strategy. Here's what actually determines whether any of this works for you. It's not your income. It's the monthly decision. Most people fail at consistent investing, not because they can't find the money, but because every month becomes a manual choice. Something comes up. One skipped month becomes two. The habit breaks. The restart never quite happens. The fix is automation. Set up an automatic transfer the same day your paycheck deposits, before the money hits your checking account. Not after you've covered everything else. First, automated. Invisible. Vanguard's How America Saves report consistently shows that people who automate investments accumulate 3 to 4 times more wealth over their lifetime than people who transfer manually. Not because they're more disciplined, because they remove the monthly decision entirely. The money moves before the brain finds a reason to redirect it. And for anyone watching this at 35, 40, or 45, the math is different, but the principle is identical. 25 years of $100 monthly at 10% still produces approximately $133,000 from $30,000 of your own money. And increasing the monthly amount offsets the late start significantly. $250 monthly, starting at 35, still builds over $300,000 by 65. The worst time to start was 10 years ago. The best available time is right now. $100 a month turns $48,000 of your own money into $600,000 over 40 years. The math works, whether you believe it or not. The only variable you control is when you start and whether you automate it so the decision can't be reversed by the version of you that wants something immediate. Every month you delay costs you approximately $1,000 in lost compound growth at retirement. That's not a scare tactic. That's the math running in reverse. If this is the first time these numbers have landed, clearly subscribe. Every week, Scott Finance breaks down exactly this. The real math, the real mechanisms, the specific decisions that separate people who build wealth from people who wonder where it all went. Hit the button.